Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, verse 27. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Janaballabha Girivaradhari. Jaya Gopi Janaballabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Janaballabha Girivaradhari. Jaya Gopi Janaballabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jayam Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajakachaja Stotara Sata Sri Srimad Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gora Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinata Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Mathura Dham Ki Jai. Navadip Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Jamuna Mai Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glory to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, verse 27. Prasanthamanasayenam yoginam sukhamuttamam upaiti shantanajasam brahmabhutam akalmasham. Prasanthamanasamyenam yoginam sukhamuttamam upaiti shantarajasam brahmabhuta akalmasham. Prasanthamanasamyenam yoginam sukhamuttamam upaiti shantarajasam brahmabhutam akalmasham. Prasanta mind fixed at the lotus feet of Krishna. Manasam, of one whose mind is fixed. He certainly. Enam, this. Yoginam, the yogi. Sukham, happiness. Uttamam, the highest. Upaiti, attains. Shantarajasam, purified passion. Brahmabhutam, liberated by identification with the Absolute. Akalmasham, freed from all past sinful reaction. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. The yogi whose mind is fixed on me verily attains the highest happiness. By virtue of his identity with Brahman, he is liberated. His mind is peaceful, his passions are quieted, and is freed from sin. Purport. Brahmabhuta is a state of being free from material contamination and situated in the transcendental service of the Lord. Madbhaktim labhate param, Bhagavad Gita 1854. One cannot remain in the quality of Brahman, the Absolute, until one's mind is fixed at the lotus feet of the Lord. Saivaimana Krishna Padaravindayo. To be always engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, or to remain in Krishna consciousness, is to be effectually liberated from the mode of passion and all material contamination. Prasanta manasam hyenam yoginam sukhamuttamam upaiti shanta rajasam brahmabhuta akalmasham. So Krishna continues teaching the process of yoga to Arjuna. And although this chapter is called Shankya Yoga, we see Krishna and again he points out that whatever yoga you practice, the purpose of that yoga is to attain Krishna. Yoga means to connect. Yoga yunjam, to connect something together, that is yoga. So it doesn't matter what yoga you practice, the practice which brings you to understand your relationship with Krishna, that is real yoga. Therefore in the Bhagavad Gita, further on in the next chapter, Krishna says, Yesham tu antagata papam jananam punya karmanam. That those people who are punya karma, who are engaged in spiritual activities for their own benefit, they become free from sin. Antagata papam. Papam means sin, and anta means within the heart. What is the sin? The sin is that I'm independent. I don't need God. I don't believe in God. I will take his property, I will enjoy it, and I will deny his existence. That's just like if I invite a guest to my house and then he takes over the house and kicks me out. What kind of guest is that? So similarly, Krishna has created this material world, and it is meant for those people who are bad guests, who cannot appreciate his position and his power. At the same time, because we are eternally connected with Krishna, no matter what we do, we will not be happy. It's just like a baby, a little baby, he will cry. And you can put him on this lap or that lap, he will continue crying until you put him on the lap of his mother. Then he will be happy, he will not cry. How is that possible? The baby can hardly understand. He cannot see, he cannot hear, he knows nothing. But there is that feeling, he understands that now I'm with my mother. In the same way, you cannot exactly explain the process of yoga, the perfection of yoga. The perfection of yoga is that once you connect with Krishna, you feel satisfied. And that satisfaction is so great that you become Dridhavrata. Dridhavrata means Bhajanti Mam Dridhavrata. You make a vrata, a vow. You don't have to make a vow. That vow is already there because by connecting with Krishna, you feel the safety. You feel that now I have reached my satisfaction. Otherwise, Bahu Shaka Yanantascha. There are many, many branches of knowledge, many, many branches of activities, and there are many, many lifetimes. We go through life after life, trying this association, that family, that arrangement, and we pursue this material activity, and we are never satisfied. And in the middle of performing these material activities, death will come. We have two choices. Either we remain in the material world, and remaining in the material world means dukhalayam, means misery, and it means ashashvatam, it is temporary. You cannot change that. That is by Krishna's arrangement. In fact, Srila Prabhupada, he gave a very humorous and very funny but very true definition of a rascal. He said a rascal is someone who is trying to make this dukhalayam, this miserable material world, into sukhalayam, into a pleasurable place. But that definition, 99.9% of humanity living on this planet at this time are rascals. Because they don't understand and they are not interested in their relationship with Krishna. So, it is a difficult situation. Kaler dosha nide rajan. Sukadeva Goswami, he explains to Maharaj Parikshit in the Bhagavatam that Kali Yuga, it is an ocean of faults, dosha nide. No matter where you go, there is problems. But there is one good quality. Asti, although he certainly Eka Mahan Guna. There is one great quality. Mahan means great. Guna means quality. What is that quality? Kirtanad Eva Krishnasya. By chanting the name of Krishna, Mukta Sangha, you become free from the absorption in material life. You become free from birth and death. Mukta Sangha, Param Brajet. And you go back to Krishna. And what is going back to Krishna? Going back to Krishna means to go away from the material world, away from the world of birth and death, and enter into the spiritual world. It's like the baby, once he's on the lap of his mother, he is satisfied because he knows this is my place. So Krishna says, Abrahma Bhuvana Loka, whether you go to the Brahma Loka, which is the highest planet in the material world, or whether you go to the lowest planet, Punaravartino Arjuna. The problem is you have to keep coming back because of birth and death. But Mamupetya too. However, Krishna says, if you achieve me, Punarjamana Vidyate. You don't have to take another birth. That's why we are attached to the Bhagavad Gita. That's why we are attached to the teachings of Srila Prabhupada. Because he gave us this link to our father, to our mother, to Krishna. Krishna is our father, Krishna Pita, Krishna Mata. Krishna is father, Krishna is our mother. And Kirtana Deva Krishna says, simply by chanting the holy name, it can be achieved in this Kali Yuga, even though 100% of people are not interested. This material world is like a prison house. Now, I can speak with some authority because I've been to prison. One of the qualities of the prison house is that the prisoners all claim to be innocent. It's never their fault. It was the judge, the police framed me, it was my partner, I didn't want to do it. They don't admit that they are criminals. And there are prisoners who are called habitual criminals who like to stay in the prison. Even they are released, within a few weeks they are back. Because in the prison, they have 3 meals a day, they have a place, they have their friends, they can talk about their business, but they're all in illusion. No sane person will want to spend his life in a prison. So Krishna is saying, this is a prison house. Dukkalayam ashashvatam. It is full of misery, and even if you accept the miseries as being pleasant, because some people, they have this rugged individuality that I am so strong, I will overcome the laws of nature, I will fight against nature. But it doesn't work. Prabhupada told a very funny story. There were two people, they were arguing on the bank of the Ganges, and they were talking, and then one person was saying, actually, the shopkeeper, he used the wrong knife to cut the cloth, and the other guy said, no, he didn't use a knife, he used the scissors. No, he used the knife. No, he used scissors, knife, scissors. So they started arguing, and it erupted into a fist fight, bing, bang, and eventually, the guy who was saying it was a knife, he got his friend around the neck who was saying it was the scissors, and he pushed him into the water of the Ganges. And just before the person was about to drown, his hand came out of the water, and he made the sign of the scissors. He would rather die than change his mind. This is a material world. So Krishna knows this. Krishna is in the heart of everyone. He's not a fool. No one can create this universe. No one can create this material body with some exceptional intelligence. We've been studying this material universe and studying this material body for thousands of years, and we haven't even begun to understand how it works. But Krishna knows. He knows everything. Vedaham samatitani vartamanani Arjuna. I know everything that is happening now, and I know everything that happened in the past. Cha bhutani, bhavishani cha bhutani. I know what will happen in the future. Cha bhutani namam vetatratma. But no living entity knows me. So Krishna understands the situation. So he's giving us an opportunity. Normally in previous yugas, in previous times, even though we don't believe in history older than 5,000 years, we don't believe in a human civilization older than 5,000 years. If you study the Srimad Bhagavatam and the Puranas, there is knowledge of human civilization going back millions and millions of years. And why not? The soul doesn't die, it takes another birth. So time moves in 4 different phases called yugas: Satya Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, Tetra Yuga, and Kali Yuga. And at each yuga, and in each yuga there is a process of understanding our relationship with God. In the Satya Yuga, people could practice yoga, they could meditate on the super soul within the heart. In Tetra Yuga, they performed the great sacrifices. The kings, the rulers, they understood that the purpose of life, that the benefit for our subject is to make him advance spiritually. The whole key of understanding this philosophy, the whole key of understanding life, is to understand what is the purpose of life. If you don't know what is the purpose of life, how can you even get out of bed in the morning? You have to understand what is the purpose of life. And the purpose of life is to attain unlimited happiness, knowledge, and longevity. Sat, Chit, Ananda. So Krishna knows this. And the kings, they used to engage their subjects in sacrifices to make him advance in spiritual life. Engaging in sacrifices in yajna, Saivaya Vishnu is yajna. To engage in sacrifice to Vishnu is to understand that we are subjects of the Supreme Lord, and everything that we do should be connected to him. And that connection with Krishna is called yoga. And that yoga transforms what is matter into spirit. Just like on an electrical cable, electricity is coming, but the expert electrician, he can use that electrical power to make heat, and he can use it to make cold. He can use it for a stove or a heater, and he can use it for a refrigerator. The same power. So the kings used to know this. And later on in Dwapara Yuga, temple worship was established on a major scale. And even now, if you go to India, Cambodia, Burma, Thailand, you see so many temple structures. They come from the previous Yuga that we lived. And in Kali Yuga, there is no process. The kings exploit us. Even the temples exploit us. First thing you do when you go to a holy place, you run into some priest who wants a donation to show you around. Anyhow, that's another story. So Lord Chaitanya, Lord Krishna knows that in Kali Yuga, in the time in which we're living, it is practically impossible to make spiritual advancement. So Krishna, he gave what is known as an amnesty. An amnesty is when the government frees a lot of the prisoners. I don't know in some country, but when I was born in Italy, sometimes the government, and the new government comes into power, they announce an amnesty that all prisoners serving less than 5 years, they can be freed. In this way, they liberate some of the prison space, and they give a chance to those prisoners to come back into social life and reform themselves. So Krishna is doing the same thing. He's thinking that for a long time, I haven't given a chance for the people in this world to attain love of God. He can do anything he wants. So and Krishna is most generous, most kind. So the generosity and the summit, the climax of this kindness and generosity is that he is giving us love of God, which is the highest benediction, even though we are the most unqualified. That is the meaning of the highest benediction. That you give, what you give there is nothing better. Love of God. And those you give it to, there is no one less deserving than them. Those two criterion define Lord Krishna's mercy. So, Lord Krishna came to teach us the process of understanding spiritual life by taking the form of a devotee. Krishna himself, with the mood of the most perfect devotee of all, Srimati Radharani. So, Lord Krishna had one associate, his name was Sarup Damodar, who was his secretary and took care of him in all ways. In fact, no one could even approach Chaitanya Mahaprabhu without the sanction of Sarup Damodar. So Sarup Damodar is considered to be Lalita Shaki, who was Srimati Radharani's most close friends. And you cannot reach Radharani unless Lalita Shaki gives permission. So he wrote this beautiful verse, Anarchita charin chirat karunaya vatirna kalo samarpaitum unnato jwala rasam swabhakti shriyam haripurata sundara juti kadamba sandipitaha sadari doya kandare spuratuva sachinandana. I'll read the translation, but it is very, very beautiful. May that Lord, who is known as the son of Srimati Sachidevi, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, be transcendently situated in the innermost chambers of your heart, resplendent with the radiance of molten gold. He has appeared in this age of Kali by his causeless mercy to bestow what no other incarnation ever offered before, the most elevated mellow of devotional service, the mellow of conjugal love. So this is our great fortune, and this fortune was brought to us by Srila Prabhupada. No matter who comes, no matter which spiritual authority you listen to, no matter which temple you attend, which process you perform, which guru you approach, whatever we know about Krishna was done by Srila Prabhupada. He was the one who brought Krishna to the West when nobody believed it was possible. And it was possible by his faith in the holy name, in this process which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu brought from the spiritual world. He wrote a very beautiful song. in Boston when he arrived in America in 1965, and he concludes the song by saying, Vedanai, I have no knowledge. Bhaktinai, I have no devotion. Nama Hubdaru, but I have a lot of faith in the holy name. In fact, that holy name of Krishna, Harinam Sankirtan, chanting of the holy name, is an importation from the spiritual world. It was brought by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu from the spiritual world. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, there is a story that the king of Orissa, Prataprudra, he became very much attracted to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he wanted to know about his associates and his ways of performing bhajan. And his chief priest was a great devotee of Lord Chaitanya called Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. So once a year, all the friends and devotees of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu from Bengal would come to visit him in Orissa. So when they arrived in Orissa, in Jagannath Puri, the king went onto the roof of the palace together with Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, and he asked him, my dear Acharya, please explain to me, who is this person, who is that person? So Sarvabhauma said, there is Advaita Acharya, there is Nityananda Prabhu, there is Shivananda Shen, and this way. And the king said, I have never seen anybody so effulgent. These devotees, they are manifesting such radiance. And he said, they kirtan. He said, I've never heard anything so sweet in my whole life. And he was the king of Orissa. Thousands of people come every day to see Jagannath. All kinds of kirtan groups from all over Bengal and Orissa come to sing for Jagannath. But he said, never ever heard such a sweet kirtan. And Sarvabhauma said, yes, he said, because it is imported from the spiritual world. And Lord Chaitanya also explained this to a great sannyasi called Prakashananda Saraswati. When Lord Chaitanya visited Benares, there were many. Benares is very famous for devotees of Lord Shiva and for Mayavadi philosophers, Mayavadi sannyasis, who believe that the purpose of detachment, the purpose of becoming a monk or a sannyasi, is to chant Vedanta Sutra, to study the Vedanta. So eventually, and they were criticizing Lord Chaitanya, that he is sentimental, he is dancing. So one day they met, and Prakashananda asked him, my dear Chaitanya, he says, you belong to our Sampradaya, but you're associating with sentimentalists, chanting and dancing, you should be studying Vedanta. And Mahaprabhu replied, he says, Shunya Shripad, listen, my dear saintly person, Guru more murka deki korile shashan. My guru, he saw me as a fool, as a monkey, as a fool. Korile shashan, and he chastised me. Murka to me, you're a fool. Tomara naika Vedanta adhikar. You do not have the power to understand Vedanta Sutra. Krishna mantra japa sada a mantra sada. Simply chant the Krishna mantra constantly. Because this mantra, it is the essence, it is the sar, it is the cream of knowledge. And then Mahaprabhu said, Krishna mantra hoite, samsara mochan. By chanting Hare Krishna, you become free from the cycle of birth and death. Krishna mantra hoite pabo, Krishna charan. And not only you become free from the material illusion, you become free from birth and death, you achieve the lotus feet of Krishna. And this is the gift that Srila Prabhupada gave us. And it hasn't been given to us for a long, long time. Anarpita charim chirat. Chirat means for a long, long time, Krishna hasn't given this mercy. So I beg you, take advantage of this Hare Krishna mantra. The main business every day is to chant these 16 rounds of Hare Krishna mantra. You can do it in less than 2 hours. Once you become practiced, you can chant and you will feel Krishna's acceptance, just like the mother, just like the child, the baby, he feels the acceptance of his mother. Good, thank you very much. I want to make one comment about this live chat. It is now coming from Facebook, and some of you, I know, are trying very hard to get rid of Facebook. I am also among those people. I don't like Facebook. It's a business model that take our information, private information, and sell it for profit. And many of the comments on Facebook is really common. It is the lowest common denominator. All kinds of nonsense is there. So I'm also trying to avoid Facebook. I'm waiting for a friend who is a computer expert to meet me later this month. So by the end of this month, we will change platform, probably go to YouTube or something else. So I appreciate that you still connect to Facebook just to listen to these lectures. That's a great endorsement, and I'm very, very thankful. And be aware that I'm working on this problem. So we have Reverend Cloud, Hare Krishna, evening to all, Mandi Priyo, Hare Krishna, and Vishnivamsa, all glories to the assembled devotees. Dandavats. We'll see you next Wednesday. Haribol.